The Prophecies of Amos, a bold voice against sin and injustice. In the annals of the Old Testament, the book of Amos stands as a powerful testament to the call for justice and righteousness. This prophetic book, composed of 9 chapters, is not merely a collection of oracles. It is a clarion call to a society steeped in moral decay. Amos, a shepherd and farmer from the southern kingdom of Judah, emerges as an unlikely prophet, chosen by God to deliver a message of accountability to the northern kingdom of Israel. His humble origins set the stage for a profound confrontation with the elite, as he boldly proclaims the divine displeasure with their actions. As we delve into the historical context of Amos's ministry, we find ourselves in a time of relative peace and prosperity under King Jeroboam II. Yet beneath this veneer of success lies a society rife with corruption and injustice. The people of Israel, intoxicated by their material wealth, have turned a blind eye to the suffering of the marginalized. Amos's voice pierces through this facade, revealing the stark contrast between their economic affluence and the spiritual bankruptcy that threatens to consume them. Amos's divine calling is a pivotal moment in his life. Unlike the professional prophets of his time, he is a man of the fields, summoned by God to speak truth to power. His early prophecies resonate with urgency as he warns Israel of the impending consequences of their actions. The impact of his words is immediate, stirring the hearts of those who hear him, yet also igniting the ire of those in positions of authority. At the heart of Amos's message lies a scathing indictment of Israel's sins. He condemns the rampant idolatry that has infiltrated their worship, where false gods are venerated in place of the one true God. The exploitation of the poor and the corruption among leaders are laid bare, as Amos exposes the social injustices that have become commonplace. He challenges the hollow rituals of worship that lack sincerity, calling for a return to genuine devotion. Amos's prophetic style is marked by vivid imagery and powerful literary techniques. Through metaphors and similes, he paints a picture of the consequences of sin, engaging his audience with rhetorical questions that demand introspection. His direct address compels listeners to confront their own complicity in the injustices he describes. The oracles against the nations serve as a prelude to Amos's focus on Israel. He pronounces judgment on surrounding nations, highlighting their transgressions. Yet it is Israel's unique accountability that weighs heavily on his heart. The judgments against others serve to underscore the gravity of Israel's own sins, as Amos calls them to recognize their covenant relationship with God. Let justice roll on like a river, he proclaims in Amos 5:24, a verse that has echoed through the ages. This call for justice is not merely a plea. It is a divine mandate. Amos emphasizes that true worship must be accompanied by ethical behavior, challenging the people to align their actions with their faith. As Amos delivers his prophecies of destruction, he paints a chilling picture of the impending judgment that awaits Israel. The day of the Lord looms large, a day of reckoning that will reveal the consequences of their choices. This concept serves as a stark reminder of God's sovereignty and the seriousness of their covenant obligations. In his role as a social critic, Amos embodies the courage to speak truth to power. He bears the emotional and spiritual burden of prophecy, fully aware of the cost of his message. Yet despite his boldness, the response from Israel is one of rejection. The leaders and people dismiss his warnings, choosing instead to cling to their false sense of security. The consequences of this rejection are dire, both historically and spiritually. Ignoring the prophetic voice leads to a disconnection from God and a deepening of societal ills. The theological themes woven throughout Amos's prophecies reveal God's sovereignty over all nations and the implications of Israel's failure to uphold their covenant. Yet amidst the warnings, there is a glimmer of hope. The concluding chapters of Amos offer a promise of restoration, a vision of renewal that transcends judgment. This future messianic hope foreshadows the coming of a Savior who will fulfill God's promises. The enduring relevance of Amos resonates in contemporary social justice movements, as his call for justice echoes in the hearts of those advocating for change. The importance of spiritual integrity remains paramount, as genuine faith must be reflected in ethical behavior. As we reflect on the lessons from Amos, we are invited to examine our own lives. Are we complicit in the injustices around us? What role do we play in our communities? The call to action is clear. Let us be inspired by the bold voice of Amos, standing against sin and injustice in our own time. In summary, the prophecies of Amos remind us of the timeless truths of accountability, justice, and the call to genuine worship. Let us heed this message, taking action in our lives and communities as we strive to embody the spirit of Amos, a bold voice against sin and injustice.